Live from our studio in downtown Eureka, you're watching North Coast News on KAEF ABC 23. At 6, get the facts right.
A 17-hour standoff in McKinleyville ended with the suspect dead at around 2 this morning, and now we're learning more about exactly how the events of yesterday's standoff unfolded. Good evening. Thank you for joining us tonight for North Coast News KAEF ABC 23 News at 6. I'm Lindsay Hausman. Today, the Humboldt County Sheriff's Office released information about the suspect. North Coast News KAEF ABC 23's Symphony Sherman is live in the studio with more. Symphony.
Lindsay, today Humboldt County Sheriff Mike Downey gave a detailed description of what happened yesterday into this morning. He said at one point they thought the standoff would end peacefully, but then communication took a turn. At around 2 in the morning Friday, a nearly 17-hour standoff situation on Sutter Road in McKinleyville came to an end. Investigators say hours worth of negotiations were unsuccessful, and the suspect was not going to cooperate.
I was confident. I think I changed that to hopeful that this would be a positive outcome, that we felt we had a good dialogue going, which we did. That started to crumble somewhere around 7 o'clock last night. At that time, pretty much all phone contact had ended. He was not answering his phone.
Humboldt County Sheriff Mike Downey described in detail as much as he could the details surrounding the standoff situation. He said it started on Thursday morning. The suspect, David Allen Fulton, had his vehicle towed from his apartment complex. In response to that, he went to the manager's office. He fired shots there. Deputies responded. Fulton fired shots at officers as well.
More shots were fired from the individual residence, which did hit one of our patrol cars. We have 3 bullet holes in one of our patrol cars.
At this point, law enforcement began evacuating people who lived in the apartment complex. The Humboldt County Sheriff's Office had help from other agencies, to include the Mendocino County Sheriff's Office SWAT team and its Bearcat. The military-style vehicle was used to evacuate people. It protects from gunfire. During this time, law enforcement was working on communication with Fulton.
We did establish phone contact with Mr. Fulton, and we had both our negotiators online, plus we had mental health there with us. Some of the mental health people were there, had spoken to him before, a rapport was built, and actually at times there was freely spirited discussion going on.
At around 7 Thursday night, the communication ended, and the phones turned off. Investigators say they learned Fulton's girlfriend was inside the apartment with him. She was there on her own free will until about 1:30 Friday morning. That's when she began to fear for her life, according to investigators. Investigators say at about 2 this morning, Fulton came out of his apartment and began firing at deputies. They returned fire, and he was pronounced dead a few minutes later. The Humboldt County Sheriff's Office remains on scene at the apartment complex. Investigators continue to process the area. For those who live there, they are not being allowed to return at this time. Meantime, an autopsy will be performed on David Fulton to determine his exact cause of death. Live in the studio, Symphony Sherman, North Coast News KAEF ABC 23.
All right, thank you, Symphony. Meantime, the Humboldt County Sheriff's Office is investigating a homicide in Redway. Deputies say a woman's body was found in the 100 block of Redway Drive in Redway yesterday. It was found shortly before 10 in the morning. Initially, they believed the woman had committed suicide. However, when the coroner arrived on scene, it was determined to be a homicide investigation. The woman appeared to have a gunshot wound. She was 52 years old. Deputies believe the woman's body had been there for several days before being reported. In Monterey County, prosecutors announced they will seek the death penalty against a woman, Tammy Huntsman, if she's convicted of killing 2 children who were in her care. Felix Cortez has more.
Now, people are going to see who that's going. Tammy Huntsman collapsed in her chair and started sobbing after hearing prosecutors are seeking the ultimate sentence against her, death. Huntsman and her boyfriend Gonzalo Curiel are accused of killing Huntsman's 6-year-old nephew and 3-year-old niece and then dumping their bodies at a Reading storage facility. A 9-year-old girl was also tortured and abused inside Huntsman's East Salinas apartment. department?
Part of everything we do is considering the victim families and the victims' opinions. Obviously, the victims themselves we can't speak to, but that's a big part of what we consider when we're doing this. We spoke to several people, especially the children's father, and so that was something of course we considered.
The decision to seek the death penalty was ultimately made by District Attorney Dean Flipple after consulting with prosecutors, defense attorneys, and listening to family members. Huntsman's attorney wouldn't talk to reporters, but Curiel's attorney had this reaction.
It makes me physically ill. Well, the idea that a government to which I pay taxes, which I help to support, is going to seek to, in cold blood, exterminate the life of a woman who has 12-year-old twins.
Huntsman's mother was notified of Wednesday's decision, but family said she was too distraught to talk. Prosecutors say the focus is now on moving this case to trial.
Our position has been and remains that we want to do this as soon as possible with all deliberate speed. And the main reason for that is we have children witnesses. We have 3 children who are going to testify as witnesses, and they need to move on with their lives, and we need to get this over with.
The trial date has been set for February 6th. The defense says it hasn't ruled out asking for separate trials for Huntsman and her boyfriend. Well, the Humboldt County Sheriff's Office is looking for that man, Marcus Allen Asbury. He's wanted for 4 counts of violation of unlawful sexual intercourse with a minor. He's also wanted on a warrant out of Lasky County. Deputies say they found him and another trespassing on private property in Garberville around 10 this morning. They knew he was wanted, resisted arrest. Deputies say Asbury took off down a steep canyon towards Highway 101 and the Sproul Creek overpass. You see him, call the Sheriff's Office. In Southern California, the Blue Cut fire continues to rage out of control. It's already scorched more than 25,000 acres since Tuesday. More than 80,000 people are under evacuation orders. The dry weather and winds are making the flames just unpredictable. Right now, there are more than 1,500 firefighters fighting the Blue Cut fire. There's also a dozen air tankers and more than a dozen helicopters. So far, it's 4% contained.
I talked to some of our crews last night, and as tired as they were, it's hard to believe that they had a smile on their face. This is what they live for. This is what they train for throughout their whole career, and this will be a career fire for most of them.
Fire crews are also sheltering in place with people who couldn't get out fast enough. Crews say the pace of the fire is something that they've never seen. It's now the 3rd day of the Cedar Fire. It's burned 4,000 acres there in Southern California. It started Tuesday at a campground in Sequoia National Forest. 600 firefighters are battling that fire with the help of air tankers and helicopters. The fire is 5% contained. Recommended evacuations were issued yesterday for several communities there. The fire has also prompted road closures. The cause remains under investigation. It's that time of year to eat some really delicious fattening food, go crazy on rides, and buy a lot of cool things. Yes, the Humboldt County Fair is officially open. They kicked off at 10:45 at the Ferndale Fairgrounds with an opening ceremony. Speeches were given, flags were raised, and anthems were sung. Kids in 4-H then led the way to the fairgrounds, where you will find an array of events all week long.
Really a chance for people in Humboldt County to have a staycation, to come and see what's new, what's different, honor those things that we've had always, the live horse racing, 6 days, the carnival, the midway food. Everyone wants a good corn dog and cotton candy when they come to the fair. But also this year we have some things that are brand new.
The fair goes through next weekend, and there will be events every day, starting with a concert from a Neil Diamond tribute band at 7. Of course, we're going to link you to all that information on our news app. The Humboldt County Department of Health and Human Services is providing a breastfeeding rest stop booth at the fair. The booth will be located in Friendship Square. That's between Belani Hall and the Dairy Barn. The rest stop will be a quiet place for mothers to relax and feed their babies. It's open to all families, and it'll be open. It's been a year and a half since the Arcata Eureka Airport has had any food options other than vending machines. That all changed today. Ramon's Bakery and Cafe just opened up their 4th location, this time in the airport. The airport's only restaurant closed a year and a half ago. The new cafe is also complete with a new charging station. Staff says they're excited to have the new additions.
required for everybody not to get to the airport early. And so people end up having a lot of free time once they've done what they need to do in the airport, and it's really nice to have some kind of beverages, food, snacks during that time.
And good news for those who aren't traveling too. Ramones will validate parking for people who just want to stop by for some coffee and orange juice. And ice cream with a cop was a huge hit. Officer McElroy hosted the event at Living the Dream Ice Cream in Eureka today. From 2:30 to 3:30, kids could get a free ice cream cone. Last year, when they held ice cream with a cop, more than 100 kids enjoyed the sweet treats, and there was just as many this year. Eureka police say they're happy to meet with the kids and show them what being an officer is all about. iPhone fans, there's speculation regarding the release dates of the 7. Coming up on North Coast News, KAEF ABC 23, there's also reports it won't have stereo speakers. We'll fill you in on the leaks regarding iPhone 7. And U.S. Olympic swimmers face questions over claims they're robbed in Rio on Sunday. We have the latest developments ahead. Plus, seasonable weather conditions on the coast means more fog. There's a slight chance of thunderstorms in some areas. Chief Meteorologist Mike Kruger will fill us in after the break.